a little gambling here and there. Nothing crazy, throw on, $50 or $100 and kind of make that last for a few months if I can. Just kind of more entertainment for me. But I do like seeing the lines and going to Vegas. And baseball, I'll gamble on football all the time because that's the most fun to me. And it's the easiest to kind of predict spreads, just based on who's playing and what the spreads or over-unders are. Baseball is an absolute bitch to bet on. It's like, holy crap, what do you're betting 1.5 point spreads for runs, and it's always the favorite. And then, you have, a dollar to make 65 cents half the time when somebody's favorite. So it's not really like advantageous to bet baseball. You don't really make money there. The place that you do or can make some money off is some parlays. Take some heavy favorites, find some good pitching matchups, put 2 or 3 games together, and go from there. So basically, I picked over the weekend. This is on Sunday, all the day games, of course. I picked the Tigers. I picked Cleveland, and I picked the Nationals. Nationals over the Pirates. Tigers over, God, I don't remember who we're playing now. Doesn't matter. Anyway, whatever. And then Cleveland, they got a 6-1 win. So the other 2 games came down to the Tigers. It was 2-2 going into the bottom of the 10th, and I just needed them to win. And Jared Saltalamacchia, God, that's a great name. They can't even get on his shirt. Like, it's got to go down to like his sleeves. They're just wrapping numbers around all over the place. And Saltalamacchia, I don't even know where the hell you get that. But I want to find out if any got any listeners out there that know what origin is that Saltalamacchia. Somebody tweet at us and let us know what that is, because I have no idea. So anyway, the Tigers, Salty walks off, 2-run walk off in the bottom of the 10th for the Tigers. So I get that. That sealed the deal. The Cleveland game was 6-1 pretty early. They were beating somebody bad. I don't remember who it was. Might have been like the Braves or something crappy. Nah, it wasn't interleague, but anyway, it was somebody bad. And the Nationals, it is 1-0 going into the bottom of the 9th, and pretty much looks like my parlay is screwed. And then pinch hitter in steps Daniel Murphy. My vote for probably the NL MVP right now. I don't know. Well, maybe Bryce Harper. Well, that was stupid. I'll take Harper. And they play on the same team, which is actually kind of impressive. Even though Harper has struggled a little bit, but the fans still love him and everybody else does. Anyway, so Daniel Murphy back up to the plate, 2-2 count, hits a solo shot, and it's a bomb too. This sumbitch got out of there in a hurry, but just hits it, puts it in the upper deck, and tie ball game, 1-1. So meanwhile, this is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At 6 o'clock, I'm still watching the same damn game. It went 18 innings, and Starling Marte hit a walk-off for the Pirates. So there was like a shitload of outs and not a lot of runs. But it gave me something to do on Sunday afternoon, and I lost money. So, again, back to my reasoning why I made it a good idea to put parlays on baseball, but then said I just lost my ass. So, yeah, just don't bet on baseball. It's just a bad idea. It's certainly not rigged, that's for sure. There's no way in hell you can rig that shit. It's not the NBA, Steve Donaghy. Anyway, moving on from that, in case you guys don't know who Steve Donaghy is, or Tim Donaghy, he's the official that got caught, shaving points off games so he could better himself and get richer. Which, you know what, to these days, more money, more problems, they say, I guess, right? Anyway, moving on. I am watching the Tigers a little bit right now. They're actually losing to the Twins 3-0 right now. That's good for the Tigers. They're not going to make the playoffs. So, a couple of just little stories I want to touch on. A couple of my favorite topics. Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel back in the headlines again. And he hasn't played a damn NFL game in like 2 years, I feel like. Oh, God. He weighs 170 pounds. He's strung out on coke. Releases today, and I'm just going to pull the article up here, that he's going to try to make a comeback, apparently. I don't know if anybody's seen Johnny Manziel lately and what he looks like, but he looks like he weighs, I'm going to go on a high note and say $175. He's been partying, doing all his cocaine and doing all that stuff. Like, it's like all of a sudden, he was released today in a post by the Washington Post. Also had a Twitter post at the same time that He's going to go sober on July 1st. I wonder if that's happened. We haven't heard anything in, it's been, 18 days, so I guess, Johnny, you're doing good. He says, I'm actually doing very well. I have good friends around me supporting what I do and try to support them in what they want to do. Okay. Then he posts a picture that says, picture of him, looks like he's in a gym, and it says, you all write about my day and my life and what goes on. Here it is. No secrets, no hiding. I'm not about what you read about. I'll be back in time. It can't end like this. I won't. I love you even though your comments suck. I think it's a poster. It's a video of him, I'm guessing probably either in rehab, but that's looking like it is. I think it's in rehab. Anyway, seriously, get your shit together, but there's no way in the hell you're coming back in the league and playing quarterback. Because you weren't good when you were there. I mean, you weren't really. He threw a lot of picks. He was exciting for the Browns. I got news for you: the Browns ain't taking him back because they already cut him. And I mean, there's no way that an NFL GM goes, you know what? Let's get Johnny Manziel after rehab on this. Unless it's the Cowboys. Jerry Jones could really throw me for a loop there. That's the only thing that I'm thinking. But yeah, there's no way. He comes back in the league. It's over, Johnny. You had a chance. You screwed it up. And you screwed it up for like 4 consecutive years. I mean, this wasn't just a one-year thing. You didn't play in the league successfully for 3 and then go out 1 and then just not make it back. No, this has been the 4 years of just a pure shit show. So just stop it. Get your shit right and just go be a productive part of society. I guess that's all I care about. Yeah, that's a favorite. Love when Johnny comes on. Comes over the headlines. He's always a good one to talk about. Moving on to the kind of a strange topic. The headline reads, Roger Clemens and a bunch of ex-MLB players signed up for an amateur tournament. Now, why in the hell would ex-Major League players sign up in an MLB tournament? For one reason, charity, of course. And maybe to relive the glory days since they all can't play anymore. But apparently in the NBC World Series, which is like the National Baseball Congress World Series, National Baseball Congress World Series in Wichita, Kansas. It's typically a college-age tournament, just for amateur-age players. I think they get teams together. I think I'm not sure if it's NABF type of stuff, but sounds like the same thing. Which is just basically like amateur league for college guys that aren't even playing in like the big-time amateur leagues like the Cape and the Northwoods League and stuff like that. But Adam LaRoche, Nate Robertson all got together, and he said, started calling some of the former Tigers. Robinson said Josh Beckett apparently is going to pitch. Roger Clemens, obviously I already said that. But the roster is actually pretty damn impressive. I don't really want to go up against these guys. I don't give a shit how old they are, but if you're telling me you're going to throw Josh Beckett, Roger Clemens, Justin Germano, Tim Hudson, Jason Isringhausen, Ryan Kohlmeyer, Roy Oswalt, nasty, Brad Penny, Nate Robertson, Ben Sheets, and Brad Tomko at me, and I'm a college kid, I'm pissing down my leg, bro. That's ridiculous. I don't want to face any of those guys. I don't care if they are 50 years old. They can probably still blow it by me. Oh, God. Well, as I say, the catchers are Kobe Clemens, which is obviously Roger's son. Infielders, Brandon Inge, one of my favorite players of all time, by the way. He's a great Tiger, played a hell of a third base, and he came with a lot of clutch home runs, but just had a good time, had a good stint in the league, and he's out, obviously, so he's a former Tiger, so that's the Nate Robertson connection. And then you go Adam LaRoche, who was recently basically kicked out of the league by the White Sox because he wanted his kid to be everywhere when he was at work, which, that was the whole thing about LaRoche. It was like, okay, so you want your kid to be at work. So the guy resigned from the White Sox and refused to play because his kid couldn't be almost at every game and in the clubhouse. And there's no other work in society that I know of outside of maybe a professional athlete that you can even bring your kids to work. It's just not acceptable. So he resigned because of it. I mean, I get it. I guess I don't get it. Or he just didn't really want to play very bad. Didn't need the money. So whatever. Obviously, he's living back in Wichita, Kansas. So, I mean, it's not, I don't think the cost of living is real high in Kansas, but I could be wrong. So maybe he doesn't need a whole lot of money. Anyway, Jason Nix, Pete Orr, Dan Ugla. Short, stocky little fucker. Jack Wilson. The outfielders are Rick Ankiel, former Cardinals pitcher / outfielder, J.D. Drew, Carl Everett, Tim Hudson's also listed as an outfielder. Ryan Langerhans and Lance Nix and Barry Weeson. I think Ryan Langerhans is in the league like tearing it up like 4 years ago. This guy's like, he's got to be, shit. Ugh. Every player on the roster except Colby Clemens played in the big leagues, and he also is the only player on the roster under the age of 30 because he's 29. So, and Roger Clemens is 53. So I'm still scared of Roger Clemens at 53. I don't care what you say. There's 11 former All-Stars. Is this going to be on TV? Because I kind of want to watch this. I want to try to find a feed of this and find out when it happens because I kind of want to watch. They're playing in Lawrence Dumont Stadium in Wichita. It looks like in the park holds 6,400 fans. NBA consists, or the NBC, the National Baseball Congress, consists of 15 amateur and semi-pro leagues in the U.S. and Canada. Their annual World Series will be played at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. Okay, yeah. So it sounds like it's interesting. I don't think it's ever been done to go play a bunch of amateurs as a bunch of ex-pros. I mean, I guess their bodies are a little more worn down than the young kids, but yeah, I still don't want to face Roger Clemens. Not going to happen. I don't care if he's 60. I still think he fucking blow up by me. And then on that, he might beat my ass. So anyway, that's just a couple little headlines. The only thing I can think of, and I don't have any notes on it, but the Von Miller contract, he finally did sign. I think it was $70 million guaranteed, which it was absurd. But we've gone through the contract talks. I'm over NFL offseason talk at this point. There's other things to talk about, I guess. But which brings me to my next one, which is football. And I like football. And primarily, I like it when people talk about SEC and the things they do bad. I'll tell you what they don't do bad. They don't football bad. They football very well. And that being said, they're a hell of a football conference. They're the best football conference in the country. I don't think anybody that's worth their shit in gold is or worth their weight in pennies. Hell, I don't know. Whatever those terms are. I don't think anybody that knows anything about college football would say that the SEC is not the best conference in the country. That's blasphemy. They are. They've won, 7. They had a run there. There was 8 national championships in a row or 9. I don't know. It was a long time, and I had to hear about it a lot. And that's probably why I don't know the number because I ignore people when they talk about shit like that because I don't like the SEC. I'm not about what they stand for, and they apparently have a very different opinion of what they stand for than most people. So the SEC media days have been going on. ESPN does their car wash of coaches and all this stuff, and Feinbaum's there, and he's talking to Saban and doing all this stuff about it. And Feinbaum kind of went at Saban a little bit and said some things like, we've seen a lot of arrest up in the last 2 days, and Saban defended the kids and said, well, they haven't been charged with anything, and Feinbaum says, so you just let a player play even though he's been arrested, you just let him play and then let it play out in the legal system, which may take 6 months to figure out, which that may be well after. He's already played that college football season, so after that it doesn't matter. So they're just going to let him play. And like Saban says, he says, well, in this country you're innocent until proven guilty. Well, yeah, but college football, to me, should be it's not a right to play college football. It's obvious it's a privilege. It's not a right. So that's the first thing. So if you fuck that up, that's not my fault. And if you want to keep going through this stuff, the SEC, and this was last year, so I just wanted to look up some numbers. This was last year. This was written in 2015. So the SEC had 11 of 14 SEC teams among top 25 in college football arrests. So out of the top 25 teams that lead the country in arrests, the SEC has 11. And Vanderbilt's not in there. And, who else isn't in there? Let's see. So Florida, Georgia, Texas A&M, Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Kentucky, LSU, Arkansas, and Auburn. Auburn comes in 23 with 13 arrests over the last 5 years. So this was 2006, 2001. So over the last 5 years. So 11 out of there. And somebody asked a couple of the coaches, and the leading question was, I think day one was, do you think the SEC has an arrest problem? And that's been the hot topic. And to have this many, and I live in the South, and I've seen these kids, They get anything they want.